My name's Gary Lynn, and you are on Cryptids. Well, good afternoon. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to we finally lined it up. We've been talking about it for a while, and
It's been a while.
we're busy. You've had all your crazy stuff going on up there. I've had a lot of crazy stuff going down here, and it's just
we're always talking. It's just
yeah,
either
yeah,
through
that's it.
Messenger or Facebook or Instagram
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
But finally got to line today up and get things
Yeah,
sorted out.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, look at so much stuff's happened in the last couple of years with what I've been finding in the bush, and nearly everything I've sent to you to say, hey, what do you think about this? You've sent me back and go, hey, we found that too.
Yeah,
Like, remember all them
yeah,
photos I sent you of
yeah,
like the A shape, the symbols I found in this
yeah, yeah,
location I've been going to, and you sent through what 30 of them, all made
yeah,
out of
something
the
like
same type of gum
that.
tree too. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we're what 1,000 kilometers apart,
Oh,
like
yeah,
probably further, like for the
yeah.
same
We
branches,
just
and then
go
I've
10 hours apart. Yeah,
yeah, like for the same branch. And even Jeremy, he's sent me
yeah,
through stuff too. The same
yeah,
branch. It's like, what's it about that tree that it's not
yeah,
they're all just falling and landing like that? Because
yeah.
them, I don't even know what they are, if they're iron barks or something like that.
Oh,
But
mate,
they're some type of gum tree, like
I think it's like to do with obviously the areas that they frequent as well.
yeah,
But I mean, to be honest, I pay more attention to the actual symbols themselves, and
yeah,
like I've said many times to people as well, like it's when you pay attention to these symbols, a lot of the sticks will actually cross over, like they'll go under over at the
yeah,
points of intersect on
yeah,
these symbols. The sticks will cross under over.
yeah,
Uh, Something like 99.99% of the time they cross under over.
yeah,
And then on top of that, if it's a symbol that's made out of one stick,
yeah,
you'll find that they'll break the meat of the stick, but they won't break the bark. So the
yeah,
stick is actually still connected
yeah,
at each point. It's just the meat of the stick is broken. But
yeah,
yeah, it's like the symbols range from triangles to oblong shapes, square
yeah,
shapes, house-looking shapes. And then once you go into like that to the other symbols with the sticks that are crossed over each other,
yeah,
X's, TPs, even very intricate big triangles use with like 15, 20 sticks to make a triangle, and then
yeah,
a couple of thicker 1 inch thick sticks laid in a certain position over top.
yeah,
One that comes to mind is I went out to, like I say, I'm on the Gold Coast hinterland at
yeah,
Beachmont, and we went out to a property out to Jimboomba, which is about an hour west from where I am.
yeah,
Um, and this person on this property had interactions or activity with one of these beings. When I say beings, I mean the big fellas, the yowie.
yeah.
And they'd always come up. They jump on the roof of the house. They throw sticks and stones at the side of the
Oh,
shed,
really?
that kind of thing. So when it went out to check it out, and yeah, it was found a few symbols, but yeah, as I said, like this one that stood out the most was a triangle made of 15, 20 sticks, all intersecting, crossing over each other, and these 2 inch thick sticks laid horizontally across it.
Oh,
So
really?
it's again one of those things where for someone to pull the wool over our eyes, they've really got to be paying attention to what's going on in our community.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and on top of that, they really need to pay attention to those points of the sticks crossing under over each other.
Yeah,
I mean, like if it's one to go make a symbol, but look, I've found plenty of symbols or potential symbols. When you
yeah,
actually suss it out, like I pass it off because it doesn't come
yeah,
across as a genuine symbol made by these beings.
yeah,
And on top of that, at this property we found TP structures, we found foot impressions,
yeah.
tree breaks, like your typical twisted tree break. So one thing for the listeners to understand with tree breaks, so when they do a tree break, it's always snapped like between your 5 to 8 foot height is where the break
Yeah.
point is. But a big telltale sign, nine out of 10 times, is a twist where it's broken. Because
Yeah.
obviously these things have hands. When they break it, they twist as they snap.
Yeah.
So they're the kind of key notes that I'll look for
Yeah.
most of the time, as opposed to a general break.
Yeah.
Because you have to be vigilant. Excuse me. You do have to be vigilant
Yeah.
when inspecting these potential symbols, structures,
Yeah.
waypoints, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
as people may know, we recently had a tornado come through the Gold
Yeah.
Coast at Christmas, New Year's time, and driving around, even driving past areas of significance for me,
Yeah.
there's tree breaks all over the place.
Yeah.
But that's obviously storm damage.
Yeah.
So hence why I will generally look for that twist and break, and if it has a twist and break, I'll give it more attention than just a general break.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of key factors that go into this subject. It's not just a case of myself or yourself walking around the bush being hopeful.
Yeah. We like all the things I've found, I don't go out looking for them. It's not like I'm following the ground looking for stuff. It's always at significant points, whereas I might hear something or might find something else, and then I'll have a look around, and then you'll notice them all. Like the amount of times I'll be cruising along, looking at stuff, come back on the way out, and then find stuff on the way back. So I've just looked at a different angle, but it's been at a spot where I've heard something take off, or like this spot I've been going to, there's a den, like that's where the den was, and the rock that you drop down into the bush to get to the den, that's where I found that big. It was two Y-shaped branches pushed, like they were folded like in underneath each other, into an A shape, and it's basically pointing to the down to the den. Like it's bloody wild. And I don't know if I told you, but after I put that video up and showed them, my grandma and my auntie, they don't live too far from me, but they've got one of them trees out the front of their house. And it was like after they watched that video, a couple of days later, they found them same symbols around their property too. But they weren't there before, and they didn't want to ring me and talk about it because they thought I'd think they were taking the piss. You know what I mean? They rang my dad and told my dad about it. And then my dad got onto me and said, "Oh, just letting you know, Grandma and Leslie, they found that same symbol a couple of days later after watching yours," and it freaked them out. But they didn't want to talk to you in case you thought I had, "Oh, whatever, Grandma, you're just taking the piss out of me. Oh, you just, yeah, you found the same one." But yeah, it's wild. I don't know whether they like that sort of tree, or it's just maybe it's easier for them to be able to shape them into the symbols that they need. But a lot of the ones I found on the ground have got the same tree, and like you said, there's not bark hanging off them or anything. They're broken perfectly. It's like they've used scissors or something. Like there's no bark coming off them where they've been broken, and with that type of tree. But I've seen the ones, like you said, the other tree breaks that that's done by them when they've got the twist in the bark and the bark's twisted. Where we have a big storm, the branches snap off. They don't break and twist and leave half the bark twirled around, or like you said, like you found the bits of blades of grass that have been woven together and stuff like that. None of that can happen naturally. There's no physical way it could. No. And they're the ones that I look for. I don't just walk through the bush and shit, that tree's broken off and it's landed and it looks like an A shape. You can tell the difference when you've been doing it as long as we have. Haven't been doing it as long as you, but you know that you can find that sort of stuff. And it's people aren't going 6-7 Ks into the bush to do this sort of stuff in the hopes that you or I walk into it. You got to be pretty lucky to be able to find the spots that we're going to. We don't walk down a track and stay on that same track. We might use a track to be heading in, and then we just jump off anywhere. Like they're not going to know at all where we are. So you can't. Like some stuff, maybe it depends on where you're going. If you're going to a public area and that, people could be doing that sort of stuff. And most of the time it'd be kids, I want to break this tree, and that they don't do it trying to trick people like us. But some of the stuff's pretty wild. And I know Jeremy's found stuff. Like is he not too far from you, or is
same? So he's in Brisbane. So it'll be, if I drove his place, it'd probably be an hour 20 to an hour and a half.
Yeah, right. But where he goes to, have you been to the spots that he goes to? It's not too far, or is that further away?
So No, that's the location. So that's Belbo Groves and Mount Nebo area.
Yeah.
So that's, if people remember, also when I used to be with Australian Young Research,
Yeah.
we're in that location one night, and that's where Dean Harrison had been come down the opposite ridgeline to him,
Yeah.
that he got on thermal camera,
Yeah.
and watched it while myself and Buck were on the other side of the ridge.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, I mean, we've had some good activity there. Pretty much every time we've been there, something's going on. We found a lot of interesting things. And as you said before, which is exactly true, we might use a path for 100 meters,
Yeah.
a trail for 100 meters, and next thing you know, we're a kilometre that way into the forest or that way, and there's no destination as such.
Yeah.
It's just something pulls us that way. We need to go this way.
Yeah.
And next, let's go to that rock. Let's go to that bush. And next, you're 2 kilometres into the forest that way.
I'm the same. I've got to be careful. I'm got to be careful. Lucky where I go, like I don't go into the Blue Mountains and that, like Attila and Yowie Dan and that. I stick to around here because I've had stuff. I've found stuff, and we've got all these greenways that come from the Blue Mountains. There's creeks that come from like Burrograng Valley, which is the waterway that's underneath the Blue Mountains, that trickle down from there into the town that I live in and the towns all around here, that people know that these creatures follow. They'll follow it where they can get to and still live and not have people harassing them and that. And I know, even lucky I'm around where I go around here, I've always got service on my phone, because otherwise I'd be in some trouble some of the time, because I'd be like, holy shit, where am I? Get my phone out. I'm 4Ks from the car. How did I even get here? Like, there's not even a track. And I'm basically looking at my phone and walking and watching where I am to make sure I can get through there and I'm not getting hurt to get back to the car. Like, it's bloody wild when you do that. Have you thought, are you going to try and start up anything yourself? Any groups, or like, I know you've got a group now that you've been posting stuff, but are you ever thinking of like setting up any research groups or anything up there for you guys, or just somewhere we can come to talk about that sort of stuff? Like,
well, I'm still considering starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think you should do it, man. You're fucking
awesome. I'm just having a little bit of trouble with the direction of it.
Yeah.
Only for the fact that, like, yes, I'm still going out there into the physical world.
Yeah.
Trying to make contact.
Yeah.
Trying to make contact. You know, finding proof, finding evidence.
Yeah.
Having interactions. I mean, still having interactions.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people are having trouble grasping with is the energy direction of this subject.
Yeah.
If you want to call it spiritual, that's fine. Call it energetic, that's fine. Whatever makes people feel comfortable when I talk about this situation. But the problem is, what a lot of people don't understand is, like, I didn't just wake up one day and decide, right, I'm going to start meditating with these beings. Yeah. That's not how it happened. Like, yes, I've always meditated, I've always grounded, but I decided to go down this path.
Yep.
Not only this path, I'm still taking a very physical presence.
Yeah.
With the research, but I'm also delving quite heavily into that energetic path as well. And the reason I'm doing that is because it comes back to experiences that I've personally had, and even when I was with AYR, energetic experiences that we've had. And what a lot of people don't realise is that even with the infamous the Buckingham and thermals from Springbrook, what a lot of people don't realise is before that happened, I was grounding. I was off meditating for 45 minutes in the forest, but actually pretty damn close to where those beings stepped out on camera for buck.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, whether I left an energetic imprint on the ground where I was meditating, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, I was off meditating for 45 minutes.
I didn't know that. That's
before that happened. And then the whole night through my phone, I was playing the earth frequency through my phone.
Yeah.
So just down low, but and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, I can't say yes or no to that. Yes, my meditation, my grounding, and playing earth frequency all night played a significant role in those thermals that Buck captured. I can't say yes or no to that, but it was definitely a contributing factor.
Well, it happened, and you've got that thermal footages and that. Like, you go out and do the same thing without your meditation and playing your music and all that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen 9 times out of 10,
that's right.
Then
that's right.
You know that. Like, that's what you can do with your YouTube if you wanted to do that. Say, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to show you how it can work, and then I'll show you when it can't work, and do that. Go out and do it a few times when you're doing that, and see if anything happens, and then go out and not do it and see the difference, and then you can sort of rule that out. If not, it might have been a coincidence. Like, you'll know if it was a coincidence or not. But I know with the stuff that I've found in that, man, like 99% of my stuff, there's been wild, weird, energetic stuff happen beforehand. Even my first encounter with the Dogman, all them things that, remember I was saying, like, my song on my Spotify changed to a song that I'd never heard. I forgot my wallet. I got to a place, the gate was locked, so I had to go to that spot. Like, all that different stuff happened for me to get there, and then that happened. All the spots at this new location, my last 5-6 videos I've been there with Attila and Yowie Dan and all that, I found that place because I was going to my cousin's place. I was driving around and she rang me and said that they were going out like spotlight and going hunting. I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, they wouldn't have shot me, but just being in the area with them shooting, if anything's out there, nothing's going to happen because they'll go quiet. They'll go into hiding because people are out with guns and that. So I thought, I'll just drive around till I find somewhere. I'd never thought in my wildest dreams that I would have pulled up at this spot because someone said, hey, we'll go down. Someone said to me, like, drew me to that driveway. I pulled up, and within 2 seconds, I have a feeling of something's watching me. Pull my thermal out, start recording that being sticking its head out behind that tree looking at me. My thermal dies. I pull my Sony camera I've got up here out with my night vision camera. My night vision torch doesn't work. Pull my torch out, my normal torch to light up the area to see the thing. That torch dies. Like, all that stuff happened out of just a little feeling I might stop here. But everything that's happened out these spots have had something like that, like being involved with it. Like, I would never thought I'd been there. And every time I go back there, I'll turn up and I'll know if I'm going for a walk in the bush or not because I get that feeling. And if I get that feeling, I go for a walk and I find something. Like when I found the den, that was down a dodgy old road nowhere near where I'd been going the first couple of times I'd been there. I thought, I'll go down. Something's telling me to go down there. Oh, what's that rock? I'll stand up on that and have a look, see if I can see the water. And directly underneath that rock, there's a den there. And then I find the symbol and stuff. Like, it has a big part, whether people believe it or not. These beings are being drawn to these locations that are significant with energies, and whether that's affecting us and bringing us to those spots too, or these beings are letting it out, letting their energy out to draw us in because they want us to know about it. And I don't know if you've spoke to them much, but I know Stephen and Evan Strong, they believe with the Yowies and stuff that they've heard stories from elders and they've had stuff happen that tell them that the Yowies want people to know about it. Like, they want people to know that they're out there. And they've spoken about the Aboriginals and the Yowies used to have a treaty together, and they used to work together to look after the forests and all that sort of stuff. And that's why if you talk to an Aboriginal person, like I know because I'm Aboriginal and I go to Land Council, you mention Yowie and their eyes are tweaking without them even having anything happen to them. It's like goes back to like that DNA imprint. Their generations of families have always been terrified of the Yowies because they broke the treaty with them. And without them even seeing a Yowie, they're petrified, talking about it and that. And so they know about that. And I know Stephen and Evan have talked about them communicating with certain elders wanting to come back and fix and try and help. And when I have stuff that happens to me and I put these videos out, and I know a lot of people go, oh, that's stupid or whatever, I do it because I want people to know about it. And that's what the more you do that, the more you find. And it's not that you're looking harder. It's just you opened up and you actually notice them more around. And I know like you've done all that stuff and had the stuff happen with the thermals. But yeah, if you do a YouTube, I reckon it'd be a hit because there is more people believing in that direction now. With people that never thought about it before, going, holy shit, there's a connection here. Like, it has to be. Like, for the stuff that they do when they cloak and stuff like that, you're not doing that unless you, like, all the people that meditate, and I know I've heard stories of people meditating and making their limbs go disappear in front of 1,000 people and stuff like that. Like, if you know how to manipulate the energy around you, you can do anything. And if you're doing that, and there's people like us that pick up on energies and signs and all that, when they're doing that, we're feeling it too, and it draws us to it. And if you, I reckon, you kill it, man, if you do that. And I love,
cheers, bro.
I love, like, eventually, like, I'll come up and visit you and that, but I love to get you down here to these spots that I've been going to. And it's like I've shown on, you seeing me drone footage, it's like a big canyon, and it's all granite, it's all sandstone, it's all the rocks that let off energies that these creatures are always being found around. Obviously, there's water, and we always find them around water too, but it's just an area you get out and you can feel it, like it's different there. And there's cave systems there that I'm claustrophobic, so I haven't gone in them, but I'll find someone that wants to climb around in some holes. But like, there's so much stuff in these locations that they want us to know they're there. They let us know, and if they don't, they can just pop away and you won't see them.
For sure, definitely. No, I mean, I'm definitely keen to do the channel. I'm just trying to really focus on the direction, and how to approach it in the best way. Because I mean, people that don't follow the energetic way, or meditation or grounding or
the woo or whatever they call it, like they just they won't have a bar of a day.
I can't. This is the thing, that they think that because had interaction with someone recently where, because I'm me, I'm not saying I'm anyone special, I'm just saying because I'm me, people know who I am, and now I'm talking about energy and stuff like that. They feel that because I'm saying it, that they must believe it right here and now.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't. Like, I'm quite happy to talk about it and tell you about it, but you need to lead your own self down that path. I can show you the path, but I can't make you walk the path. You have to come. You have to come about those ideas or realizations yourself. But people tend to get so defensive because you can't show them the magic trick straight away. And they don't realize that, again, this didn't happen overnight. It's happened over years and years of experiences with people who even happening around people who aren't of this path. They still witness and experience it. I mean, like, it obviously sounds very much like myself, yourself, is that we follow our intuition, follow our instinct, which leads us these directions. And as you said before, you know, I have to go check that out. I don't know why, but I have to go down this area. It's the same thing. I mean, like, even that night that Dean got that thermal at Bellberg Grove where Jeremy is, the reason that we decided to set up base camp over there is I got a strong pull to the other side of the dam. And so I left them all there. I walked the other side of the dam. Something was pulling me over there. So I went and checked it out. Next thing I find multiple foot impressions stepping up over a log. And then I kept tracking these impressions going up this particular ridge line. And Dan's like, what do you reckon? I said, we have to set up camp here. So we set up camp. And next thing you know, that night, Dean's got one on thermal that he's watching walk down the opposite ridge line. Unfortunately, it was just before he got one of those new IR50 thermal cameras. It was on his old FLIR camera. His old FLIR camera doesn't record or it takes photos, but crappy ones now. It stopped recording videos, so the best you could get was that crappy photo that he got with the the head shape and eye shine poking around the tree. But otherwise, you know, like, it's, I mean, coming back to my path, I mean, again, I'm still heavily involved in the physical research aspect. I mean, I can't wait for the day that I can look them in the face out in the forest, even off the back of their house. I mean, again, live in the Gold Coast hinterland and beachfront, and we've had them multiple times come up to the back of their house. And coming back to the energy side of that, the reason why they started coming up to the back of their house is, so I decided to do Reiki levels 1 and 2. And once I did level 1, that's when things started kicking off. I made contact within meditation. So as part of your Reiki levels, there's a 21-day meditation that you need to do every night for 21 days. And then once you do level 2, then it's another 21 days.
Yeah.
So within between levels 1 and 2, I was meditating as I was meant to. And because it's Reiki, there's a process you have to go through with the meditation.
Yep.
And then I saw within meditation, I guess I saw behind the veil, as people call it.
Yep.
And I saw the whole troop as clear as I can see you right now.
Yeah, right.
Their facial features, their look.
Yep.
There's like 2 seconds for each one. There's eight members.
Yep.
8 members. The second last one was a juvenile.
Yep.
Big black eyes, small round head, and looking up like that.
Yep.
I can remember that one. And the very last one was a conical head with a fringe that hung down like this, which I got the impression was female.
Yeah.
And then once I saw that 8th member of the troop, I then went to a location. I can still see the location right now.
Yeah.
I had no idea where it was because I think I tapped in. Well, I know I tapped in unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I think I also tapped into them unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And I went to this location, and I'm looking at this slight decline of the ground. There's a fallen tree. I'm just standing there looking at this area, and this wave of energy would come over me. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm saying, I apologise. I'm just trying to make contact. I mean no disrespect. The wave would go away. The wave would come back. It just kept like the ocean. Waves coming in, crashing and going, just like that. And then I come out of it. But the crazy thing was, I didn't feel like I was in a meditation. Or I felt like I was just sitting on the couch with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And then nights later, we started having activity coming up to the back fence. So our property, basically on one side we've got 11, they've got 11 acres. This side they've got 9.5 acres.
Yeah.
Our half acre was subbed off their 10 acres. So they've got 9.5 now.
Yeah.
But once you go off the back, it's just forest all the way down through the army land down through Conundrum Base.
Yeah, I've seen the photo. It's awesome. It's a bloody awesome location.
Yeah, and like there's no obstruction to stop them coming up.
Yeah.
And I've been down there. Even with the neighbour with the 11 acres, I've been down the back of his place. It's all beautiful forest, and I've made 2 track impressions, two casts from 2 track impressions down there.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've heard tree knocks down there, that kind of thing. But again, coming back to the Reiki, after making contact, after the level 1 attunements, then they started coming up to the back of the property.
Yeah.
Leaving sticks woven through the fence. You hear them.
Yeah, I remember you showed me some photos. It's bloody awesome. Like that's not a tree. It's not blowing off a tree and landing in the fence like that.
Oh no, it's a chain link fence. It's a stick it's a trident stick.
Yeah.
About 500 mil long.
Yeah.
And it's woven horizontally through the chain link fence. It can't fall out the end of the tree.
It's so hard. I'd struggle to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly right.
I've seen the photos. It's like
similar.
It's wild.
And then you got like there's only like even the story I was telling you about last night when the wife and I were at the back.
Yeah.
I was having my lemon and honey, and she was having a green tea, and we're having a chat, looking at the stars and the view off the back with the mountains. And she pushes my head around and says, look, and over towards Binnaburra, which is a tourist destination up here.
Yeah.
There's lights in the sky, and it's the same spot that we've seen lights in the sky many, many times.
Yeah.
And they're not Starlink, they're not satellites, because these lights aren't, obviously Starlink satellites, they have a set path.
Yeah.
And they stay on that set path. These lights are zigzagging, they're slowing down, they're speeding up, they're changing course, they're lighting up and then dulling down.
Yeah.
And we went further down the backyard into the dark to get a better view. Watched them, must be like 30 of these lights in the distance coming through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, off the back in the darkness, not close, but close enough to hear a bit of noise. We could both hear some action further down the back, maybe 100 meters away further down the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, only weeks ago, similar situation. Wife and I was sitting in the back patio in the dark, just talking, and where they always come up to down the backyard, the back corner of the yard. Next thing you hear trees breaking and heavy movement down there.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where I didn't have to like tap the wife on the shoulder. She heard it as clear as I could hear it. And even she goes like, yep, that is not a possum.
No.
And I'm wearing nothing but boxer shorts. I jumped off the patio, ran down the back into the darkness. Probably only about 10 meters away from them, but there's quite heavy tree and bush cover down there.
Yeah.
But where I was standing, it would have been 10 meters from where they were. I'm sort of standing waiting. Come on, like, hello, brother, sister, you there? Hello?
Yeah.
Nothing. Went back to the patio, sat down, and then after about a minute, they started carrying on with what they were doing, breaking this and breaking that. And I went down the next day in the daylight and a couple of X's, and there's a small tree with all the branches snapped over in different directions.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's, again, the whole point of that is since doing that level 1 Reiki attunement, that's when this action started to happen off the back of our property. And I guess, I've opened myself up as a beacon. My intent and my purpose, my energy when we go out there is to not disrespect them, not disrespect the location.
Yeah.
And I think that has a big role to play in the subject. So
100%.
and again, trying to tell people, like, it's not that we don't know enough. We can't look at this subject from the side of the box that suits our own narrative. We have to look at all sides of the box.
Yeah.
Because we're all trying to learn, and if we look at that one side that suits our narrative, then those particular people aren't going to get anywhere. They're going to be sitting, in 10 years' time, they're still going to be the ones sitting there saying, well, you shouldn't be saying that because you're damaging this community that we have.
Yeah.
It's like, no, people like myself and yourself, John Kershaw and Sarah and other people actually pushing the limits, trying to find out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are actually pushing the boundaries in a positive way.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just sitting on the sidelines talking crap, basically.
It's been 100 years and they haven't been able to prove it for scientific research and scientific identification and that. Like,
well, they won't. They don't want to.
They won't do that. But if they haven't been able to do that already, like, obviously there's more going on there. I know I've had videos and that, and I've had videos, and when I went to a spot up behind my great grandma's, it actually goes into a special little spot in the bush, and I've physically seen a thing standing there. It would have been nearly 3 meters tall, big, black, hanging out from behind a tree, and I watched it for 10 minutes while, like, my daughter and that were walking up the path towards me, and I was watching it, had my Sony camera out recording it, looking at my camera, could not see it on the screen, but physically I could see it with my eyes. I'm like, how does that work? Like, you can't be sitting thinking, it's just a physical monkey that's evolved to be able to survive in the bush when I'm physically looking at a thing for 10 minutes, leaning out from behind a bush, and there's not even a shadow on the footage of the trees, like a shadow off the tree or that. It was physically there, but not coming up on electronics. And that's to do with energy, you know what I mean? Like, it's whether it's infrasound or just them being able to tap into the energies around and go missing and stuff. And that's why it's good with the thermals, because they're not used to it yet, because I've caught a lot on thermal. You guys have found so much, and whether they can't do that or it's because it's picking up on heat and they're not being able to do that. Like, I know I've got a being at this spot. It's massive. You can see it looks like a werewolf standing in the bush, but it wasn't letting off a heat signature. So I could still see it. Remember, like one of my videos, you can see it. And I seen it stand up through the thermal before I started recording. Same thing. As soon as I pulled it up, I'll have a look. As soon as I pulled it up, seen this massive being stand up out of the bush, wasn't recording. Start recording, you can see the outline of it there, but it's not putting off heat. Like, it's wild. So you're on the right thing. What?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's the most frustrating thing when something happens and you're not ready, or you've just turned the camera off.
Yeah.
I was with a mate, Dion Bennett, and we went to a location off the back of Lamington National Park.
Yeah.
And if people see the footprints in the mud that I posted various times, that's from this location.
Yep.
And I went out there and I with Dion this particular day, and we basically it's a national trail.
Yeah.
And you've got to jump a fence, go through cow paddocks, past the cows, but that little calf there looks like it's about less than 24 hours old.
Yeah.
Mum's looking defensive, and the big bulls over there. Like, we should jump into the next paddock and make a wide berth.
Yeah.
And you finally get to the gate to to go into Langton National Park. We get over within meters. Dion finds a partial footprint with toes. And we keep walking, and we get another couple hundred meters up this trail. And even when you're walking this particular path, because most people don't realise that it's there.
Yeah.
So it's you just look at the ground. Like there's no shoe prints, boot prints, nothing like that, because no one knows it's there.
Yeah.
And we're walking along another couple hundred meters, and then I find an X marker on the ground beside a tree.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this X marker. And Dion finds something else of interest. So I've got the camera filming what he's looking at, but then we come to the decision that it's probably just a natural little stick thing.
Yeah.
I stop recording. And then we turn around. We're looking at this X mark on the ground beside the tree.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, from down below where the creek is, the only way to describe it is a big ape, like a silverback gorilla sound. What?
Oh.
From down the creek.
Yeah.
And I just stopped recording because I've just filmed what he's looking at, and now I'll stop recording and looking at the X marker, and this big vocalization happens, and we were just blown away. Like, as you know, like Yowie vocals in Australia are so rare. And even the ones that are out there, they've got to really fine tune that recording to pull the audio out of it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had to do anything with this. Yes, you could clean it up a bit, but it was that big and clear. Yeah, showing the raw audio, and people would have been blown away straight off the bat. Yeah. So of course I start recording straight away, and about a minute later you hear it again, but it's further away in the distance, so this thing's moving away. But the second vocalization was had a reply of a tree knock, which wasn't far away from us.
Yeah, right.
The camera picked up the tree knock, but unfortunately didn't pick up the big silverback vocalization that was further away. But mate, it was like it was one of those situations. We were so in awe of this vocalization, but so bummed that the camera got turned off seconds before it happened.
But at the same time, dude, they would have picked up on it.
Oh,
and they would have done it and then laughed and went, cop that, you bastards. You just missed it. We knew what you're doing. The amount of times I've seen stuff when I've been out and I haven't got the cameras on or turned them on, or even just gone for a walk somewhere and not even thinking about going to see stuff.
Yeah.
And the amount of times it happens, and you think, these pricks are playing with me. They know what's going on. They're going, cop this, or I'll be recording. I go, I've got it. I have a look. My GoPro's jammed, or the battery's died, or my camera's not been recording. The amount of times I've heard noises and that in the bush, and it's like the time I went to this spot and I was walking through, and something in the bush said John, said my name. I recorded the whole thing, but you can't hear it on the recording. But you heard it. It was enough for me to turn around. I thought, maybe one of my mates had turned up and seen me or something. And I've been talking to one of the elders at Land Council, and he worked up the Pilliga and one of the sawmills, and you know about the Pilliga, the amount of stories and that have come through there. And he's told me stories of being Aboriginal too. He's heard of more stuff, and he goes, the Yowie, they're up there. Yeah. This spot that I've had the Dogman encounter, he goes, I know they're there too. I've heard them. I've heard them at night, and I've heard this, and I've heard stories. But the Pilliga and that, like the stories that he've heard, it's not just Yowie stuff and straight out. It's a big creature walking in the bush. Like one of his brothers had a truck break down on him through the Pilliga, and he pulled up, had to change. Didn't break down. Sorry, done a tire. He had to change a tire. He's working in the dark with a dirty little headlamp that can barely see the ground. He's got the tire off, putting it back on. doing the lock nuts back up. He puts his tools down, grabs something from the truck, comes back down, sits back down, goes to do it. As he's going to pick up his tools to start doing it again, something handed him that tool.
Oh, wow.
In the middle of the night, middle of the Pilliga, no one around. He turned around, he grabbed it and went, like he grabbed it over his shoulder. And he's like, hang on a minute. And he turned around, nothing there.
Oh,
like,
nice. Love it.
And he said his brother drove to town with only 3 of the 6 lock nuts on. Got there, he goes, I don't care if this tyre comes off. And he goes, I don't care if I blow 13 tyres. I'm going to grind the ground out on my rims until I get to town. He got there and then put it back together and that. And he goes, what the hell is that? He said, that's not Yowie. He goes, but it probably was. No. It's been watching him because he's on this side of the road for ages. And I don't know if you've heard of the story through there of a truck pulling up for a break, middle of the night. The guy wakes up, the truck being pushed over, and cows, like, because he had livestock in.
Yeah.
And cattle being, like, whatever it was shaking the truck to the point that it actually laid the truck on its side and cattle got out. And there's still there was still cattle missing to this day that weren't accounted for that come out of that truck. Like, that's even, I've heard truck drivers tell me about that when they've heard of my stories and that. Just, did you ever hear about the truck in Pilliga that got knocked over? The truck drivers know about that, not Yowie people. The truckies talk about something knocking it over and taking cattle out of the back of one of the 2-story livestock trucks. It's bloody wild.
I've said that to so many people that it's known in the trucking community about the Pilliga.
Yeah.
And I mean, even a friend's husband of my wife, he's a truck driver, and even he and his father know about the Yowies and the Pilliga Princess.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those commonly known things, mate.
Yeah. He was telling me about that too, the Pilliga Princess, about how she come to be, what she was, and that. And I just thought it was a kid, and apparently it's not. It was a lady that used to walk the streets, and that's why he was the elder was telling me all about it. Yeah. It's the same as like the area you guys go to, and you are, and the spots that Tiller and Yowie Dan always go to, and the Blue Mounts. It all seems to be their like beacon areas.
You know, the sightings up where I am, like with the big fellas, like, and I know everyone thinks that Springbrook is the number 1 hotspot for Australia / Queensland, but I will say that the man I'm on Beachmont, it definitely gives Springbrook a run for its money. I mean, we've been living up here 8 years now. 8 years, and over those 8 years, there's been some incredible stuff, even just for the locals. Stories that come out, you know, especially once they found out who I was and where I live. A lot of locals would start having a chat, and so-and-so's seen this. And even, actually, I was just talking to a lady the other day, got to try and catch up with her, because with the paranormal nights that myself and a mate, Clyde Watts, were hosting, one of the people that come to those paranormal nights, he sent me a message saying someone he knows further up the road. She, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's a way of energy work. Since she's been going in that direction, she's going to have some activity off the back of her place. So at the moment, trying to line up with her to go suss at the back of her place and have a chat and see what's going on.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I mean, like, you know, with being up here as well in the mountains, obviously an incredible view of the sky.
Yeah.
Always seeing not crazy stuff, I should say normal stuff.
Yeah.
Strange lights in the sky, zips and zags and flashes and streaks and that kind of thing. You know, it piques your curiosity quite high.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of come back to the point where I decided to look into CE5, so Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5, which is human-initiated contact. With extraterrestrials. Now, it does involve meditation. There is, he does have a 20-minute guided meditation that you basically follow, and with this kind of meditation, for X amount of time before it, you have some tones that you play, and these tones are actually recorded within crop circles. I think it was a frequency that when they were investigating a crop circle, they recorded these frequencies.
Yep.
Anyway, they've turned that into a tone. So you actually play these tones for 10, 15, 20, however long you want to do it.
Yep.
And then you go into the guided meditation of the CE5 and just listen to Stephen Greer talk. Basically follow the guided meditation.
Yep.
And really, but I've spoken to a lot of people about the CE5 and they have a lot of trouble making that connection. But I think
Yep.
A lot of people need to really put themselves in that moment. Once you put yourself in the moment and visualize what's going on, not just listen to the guided meditation, visualize what's going on, especially like he says in that meditation to see yourself sending a beacon out into the universe of where you are. And I think a lot of people have a bit of trouble visualizing that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I think once people sort of get their heads around that visualization aspect, that it should be a lot more successful. Over the years, just kept pushing with that. And once doing that, things just kicked off. I was doing it maybe every second night, second or third night. It basically got to the point every time I do a CE5 meditation, you start seeing lights flashing in the sky, things zipping and zagging and pulsing like what would they call flash bulbs. See flash bulbs all the time, and it got to the point where I wouldn't even have to meditate. I'd just go outside at night and I'd start getting flash bulbs and stuff zigging and zagging. Even to the point where my mother come down for a weekend and we went outside and was standing in the front yard under the stars, and I looked up and bang, there's a flash bulb. I said, "Oh, Mum, did you see that?" And she said, "No, I missed it." And so I looked at that location and said, "My mother missed it. Can you please do it again?" Mum looks up, bang, bang, 2 flash bulbs from the same spot. As soon as Mum looks up. So obviously I created that beacon. But I will say, like, I haven't, of late, I haven't sort of, I haven't done too much CE5, so I guess that beacon's dimmed a fair bit. But I mean, look, even like it's even to the point where I'd be out by myself in the forest, or I'd be on an AYR trip, and we'd be in the depths of somewhere at night. And there's always these 2 lights that would follow me. Every time I look in the sky, in the horizon, whatever, there's always these 2 lights. Every time I go out, so just at the right time, every time I go, I look at the right time, or I go at the back at the right time, there's these 2 lights. Only whenever I was out there. And even the point where, Bark and Dean, they witnessed this as well. But there was another case where myself, Dean, and Shannon were down at Little Narang Dam, which is a smaller feeder dam towards Hings Dam, which is the Gold Coast feeder supply, water supply. And Dean's up the track a little bit further. I guess this sort of comes back to what is going on with the big fellas and the UFO aspect. Something that does hold a lot of water. A lot of people, both in Australia and the US and the UK, other places they do talk about, because it does happen a fair bit. I know people, a lot of people have heard this story, but I'll tell it again for those that haven't heard it. We're at this location, that Little Doreen Dam, and Dean's up the track about 100 metres. Myself and Shannon stayed at base camp, and directly above us we had open tree canopy so we could see the stars. And around us we were surrounded by tall grey gums, but directly above us was open tree canopy. And we all of a sudden hear this buzzing mechanical noise, and we look up, and there's a big black V, about the size of 2 F trucks, nose to nose in a V formation. Hovers directly over top of us. And this is moments after Dean said that he can hear something heavy by people walking through the forest down below him in the valley. And we've had many strange UFO type encounters and sightings and that kind of thing, and even people that have contacted, even to this day, mate, like the reports don't stop coming in.
I've been out in the bush or even at home and you're looking up at the sky, and then all of a sudden something black big goes over, and the only reason you know that it goes over is because the stars disappear for a few seconds. You know what I mean? It's like darker than the night. Like, that's bloody wild, eh? Do you think it's UFOs, or do you think it's more energy based?
I think it's UFOs. The reason being is that for a while there, I could sense the energy in the house was heavy and thick.
Yeah.
Every couple of nights, and even to the point where if I've had a massive day at work, and I knew it was then because I'd seen ETs in the house twice.
Yep.
And I knew it was them. Again, you could just feel how heavy and thick the energy in the house was.
Yeah.
And I'd be going to bed. If I had a crappy day at work, I'd speak openly to the area.
Yeah.
Speak openly to the area and say, look, not tonight, guys. Big day. I'm tired. Just not tonight.
Yeah.
And nothing. Then the energy in the house would be light for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks, it'd come back heavy again. But I always knew they were here. I mean, after delving into this further and whatnot, it turns out I've had contact since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But it's only in later years and I've realised what the hell's actually going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much I'd always know when they've been around because I'd have the crappiest sleep ever.
Yeah.
And really, really strange dreams and just a crappy tossing turning.
Yeah.
Sleep all night, like next to no sleep all night.
Yeah.
And that was always after like the energy in the house is thick.
Yeah.
The house is thick and heavy. And that was one thing that I've experienced that. But then my wife, she woke up one night. I think she said it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. She wakes up and looks over and sees this dark silhouette standing over top of me while I slept. And
you know what? Quickly, I've heard this before, and it's still fucking giving me goosebumps. You told me, you know what I mean? We've talked about this. You go on, so she's seen that.
Yeah, wow. So she's seen that, and she's like, "Am I still asleep, or am I what? Huh?" So she said she took a breath and blinked her eyes, as you do, sort of focus, looked again, and yes, there's a dark silhouette standing over top of me while I'm asleep. And then she goes, "No, I just went back to sleep." And I was like, "No, you didn't go back to sleep. You weren't meant to wake up, so they put you back to sleep."
100%. 100%.
I mean, so you basically say that's two sightings in the bedroom because so she's seen the being standing over top of me. I've seen one peeking in the bedroom door, looking at me. Same sort of deal, mate. Same sort of deal, bro. I'm asleep. I just suddenly woke up and sat up. Look at the doorway, and there's an ET standing there, and I'm, even if you were standing there, it'd still give you a fright, like because you woke up. So I go, oh, jeez, and I look back, gone.
I've woken up. The amount of time they go on about the 3 o'clock, the witching hour.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've woken up. I spoke to you before. I've woken up, can't get back to sleep. I walk outside, think I'll have a smoke and go back to bed. Walk outside. Within 30 seconds, I light in the smoke, look up in the sky, light, stops halfway, heads back the other direction. I'm like, all the times I could have woken up, and the amount of times I wake up and just go back to sleep and that, every time that I've woken up at that time and I go outside to have a smoke, there's something I see. You know what I mean? Like, it's different if I just went and didn't do anything. Like, I could have been a non-smoker. I wouldn't have seen it and that. But for that to happen, like, that's on purpose. And like you said, you wake up and there's one looking at you like, it's pretty wild, eh?
Oh, mate, it's incredible. I think the biggest regret I have with these beings, these extraterrestrial beings, was the one that I saw in the kitchen that was backlit by the salt lamp. And I was going to bed and went around ran into the hallway, do 180 to go upstairs, and the stairs aren't solid stairs; they're individual steps. And there's a window at the back of the house there, and I looked in the window and I saw this reflection coming through the stairs into the window at the back. And I stuck my head back around in that little hallway, looking back in the kitchen, and there's an ET being backlit by it's not like a black silhouette, it's backlit by the salt lamp. But the regretful part was I just went, okay, I walked upstairs. Oh, what? Why didn't you say hello? Why didn't you go, hi, Colin? Someone. Okay, and walked upstairs. I'll regret that particular situation. I'll regret that for the rest of my life that I didn't.
Yeah, but
do more than just
if you did something, you probably wouldn't have remembered it. They would have got to you somehow. And you wouldn't have remembered it. How many times it's probably happened and you've done it, and you don't remember.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I guess that comes back to, people that listen to intuition and synchronicities and observe
yeah,
what's going on in their lives, are usually the ones that have the more vivid dreams.
yeah,
Dreams that don't seem like a dream. Something
yeah,
like, I guess it comes back to like astral travel,
yeah,
which, I mean, actually speaking of that, my daughter recently has been telling me about when she dreams, she floats out of the bedroom and floats down the stairs and goes out the front yard.
yeah,
I'm like, hang on, back up a bit and get her to tell me
yeah,
again. And I said,
yeah.
do you think you're dreaming? No.
How old is she?
She's 6 turning 7.
Yeah, well, there you go. My
And
daughter
she's like,
last year, she just turned 8,
yeah,
and she'd never seen anything to do with aliens or any of this stuff that I do. And she woke up one night petrified about this ship she was on with these weird looking people. She
yeah,
had this dream that she'd never
yeah,
seen any of that stuff to dream about it. And she's like, we went blah, blah, blah. We were flying through the sky, and these people, they were trying to talk to me, and it scared me, and I don't ever want to go back, and all this blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy
yeah.
shit, that sounds like a
Wow,
freaking
that's an
astral,
induction.
yeah, or you know what I mean? It's like, holy
Yeah,
shit, like, it's wild, and that's awesome that your daughter can talk to
yeah,
you about that sort of
yeah.
stuff, and you're not going, oh, you're silly, don't talk about that, and because that's
Oh
how many
no,
kids have had that
yeah,
happen. Like,
yeah.
I
I mean,
sound
I mean,
I'm going to sound
yeah,
stupid right now, but when I was a kid, up until even like 12, I used to
yeah,
wake up in the middle of the night to noises in my room or at my window, and I used to shit myself and run. The amount of times, nearly every night of the week, I'd do
mm-hmm.
that, and they just thought, oh, I'm just scared of the dark. And one day he goes, you know what? He goes, there's fucking something there that whole time. We just said, don't worry, like,
Yeah,
you weren't being a pussy. All this stuff that's happened to you, he said, that was happening because you heard a noise and you felt something sit on your feet at the end of your bed and stuff like that. He said the amount of
yeah,
times you said
yeah,
that, and we just went, just fucking whatever. The amount of stuff
yeah,
that you've seen and heard and everything, and it happened.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
so
mean,
it's good that they can talk to you about stuff. Like,
yeah, I guess me being who I am,
yeah,
I can't really pass it off as well. Plus, I mean, if I'm honest, I mean, there's a couple of walking trails up here. I'll take her
yeah,
up there. She knows what's going on. She's heard stuff.
yeah,
Um, I mean, when she was 3, she's seen Yowies twice.
yeah,
But I mean, like, I'll sort of take her up to these particular locations where she's with me, she's safe. There's no, I guess I'm using her as using her as bait, but I'm
yeah,
not actually, putting a piece of meat around her neck and saying,
yeah,
hey, walk that way,
yeah. You just know she's with you, something will happen. Yeah,
That's right. So it's basically taking her up there in the sense of bait, where because like with the big fellas, because they do respond to kids.
yeah,
So I'll take her up there and I'll get her to whistle and I'll get her to make noises and
yeah,
speak to the forest.
yeah.
So bait in that sense, not in a sadistic way.
And I know you've had a few things happen in the bush when you've put your daughter's stuff out. I know there was a scrunchie you put out
Yeah.
and you found
Oh
it in
yeah.
a
Yeah.
symbol and like in that little
Yeah.
TP thing and just other stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I think like that situation, like I'm going to put that situation back to an energy sense as well, because we come to find out that particular location was sitting on a ley line.
yeah, right.
And ley lines being the energy lines that wrap around the earth.
Yeah,
And yeah, this spot was sitting on a ley line.
yeah,
These beings were coming in. They're making structures and symbols and rock stacks and weaving branches, weaving leaves, and as you spoke about before with the grass and that kind of thing,
yeah,
woven together, palm leaves, folding palm leaves over and
yeah,
weaving the leaves together, but like woven like a basket.
yeah,
Um, and even like there's a lower location here that we're going down to, and they in a soft way of asking, they tie a branch to a vine directly across the path that we're going
yeah,
down. But I mean, it was very easily passable. It was like a polite way of saying, please stop going to this lower location.
Yeah.
We got the hint, not straight away, but we got the hint. We thought, let's try to stay up a bit on this higher location.
Yeah.
Once we did that, and I guess respected their wishes to stay away from this lower location.
Yeah.
And this lower location was full of footprints and probably the most intricate symbols I've ever found were getting this lower location.
Yeah.
Rock stacks, like the symbol you would have seen, like there's like 20 sticks and like an arrow triangle, and there's that rock standing in the center.
Yeah.
That's from down in this lower spot.
Yeah, right.
So that, and there's also like saplings that have been snapped off and then twisted and tied. And so we decided, okay, let's stay up here. And once we stayed up here, stuff up here went nuts, kicking off, and then, we ended up making a footprint cast out of it. Snapped here. It was incredible, and like with my daughter Scrunchy. So because basically when I go to an area, I'll always introduce myself to that area. In respect to forest spirits, Aboriginal spirits, these beings. If people think that's kooky spooky, that's your problem, not mine. So I'll introduce myself to that area out of respect, and when I leave, I'll thank the area and say goodbye. So I've got Willow doing the same thing. And with that Scrunchy, I got her to speak to the area, announce who she is, and say that she's going to gift this pink Scrunchy. And once she did that, we watched over weeks. We watched this Scrunchy sitting on top of an X mark, and now it's moved up into this tree. Now it's part of this rock stack. Now it's part of these symbols over here. Now it's back up on a tree over here. I mean, like that area was just absolutely incredible. And the only reason we lost access to it because the people had to move because they were renting the area. But the strange thing was once they had to move, that was like a door closing. I mean, yes. I mean, I guess that's everyone. So everyone understands that that's where Shannon used to live. And the night that the time that things stopped was he had about 2 weeks. Before he had to move out, and I said to him that I want to go in there, speak to the area, say that we're going to be back in 3 sleeps. So they know what's going on. And we, once I did that, we come out of there. We're standing in the driveway. Got this big vocalization from down in there. So they're obviously in there when we're in there. But obviously we didn't know exactly where they were. They were obviously being on covert. We sort of half went back in, but we'd already been in there an hour. And out of respect, I didn't want to push boundaries, so we sort of went into a point, but I didn't want to go further than that. Just to again respect for them in the area. And unfortunately, the next night, Shannon spoke to the area and said, "Look, guys, thank you for your actions, but we unfortunately have to move. So we won't be here any longer." And then the next night, he said he could hear what sounded like a whimpering, upset voice. And timber being thrown around. And again, like even though I'm saying this, I've cut out. I know I've spoken to you about this, but to your viewers, I've cut out a lot. There's so much has happened. From we first started this area to now. Incredible stuff. So Shannon spoke to this area and said, unfortunately, we have to move. Thank you, and so on and so on. The next night, he can hear sad whimpering voice and timber being thrown around. The next day, I go in there, everything's gone. All the structures, all the rock stacks, everything's gone. Crystals that we gifted, clear quartz and smoky quartz. And we had a gifting rock that we were using. So now the gifting rock was upturned, and there was a Y symbol stick pointing up the hill a bit. It didn't quite click on straight away because I'm looking everywhere. Look, everything's taken down and gone. And I happened to actually pay attention to where this Y stick that was sitting on top of the gifting rock was pointing, and looked up there. and there's the clear quartz and the smoky quartz sitting with. Actually, I had a labradorite plate,
Yeah.
probably about the size of a dinner plate, and they jammed that vertically into the ground, and then in front of it they had ferns that they broke off and put ferns in front of it, and then they had like a 6-inch, 5-6 inch X marker,
Yeah.
and the two crystals sitting in front of that.
Yeah. Right.
And then about a meter, half a meter in front of that was another stick, a smaller stick jammed in the ground. And then another meter after that was a bigger stick jammed in the ground. And the end of the stick was split like that. And there was a
Yeah.
rock jammed in the top.
Yeah. Right.
I guess like for that rock jammed in the top, think of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
With old Buzz walking cane with the
With
amber with
the
mosquito.
yeah.
Yeah, just think of that, the stick with the top and this rock jammed in the top of the split.
Yeah.
And
Right.
from that day on, nothing. And then I even spoke to the property owner a couple of months later. Said, have you heard or seen anything? Because like the property owners on the same property, but they're over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he used to say, like, we hear things walking around the house and like tapping the windows. We think they're ETs, and then when I started saying no, I don't think they're ETs. I think it's the big fellas. It sort of started to make sense to him. So he knew what I was on about.
Yeah.
But yeah, since this happened and they pulled everything down, and I spoke to the property owner a couple months later. He said nothing. It's been dead quiet.
Yeah. Right. Makes
Absolutely
sense.
nothing. Yeah, so I think that's probably the closest visually and physically that I've been to making actual contact.
Yeah.
Was that property? Like if you could almost taste it. It was that close.
Yeah. That's wild.
So I mean, I did have a bit of a sook at Shannon for doing that a bit too
But
early. It's is what it is. Either
yeah,
way,
that's
like,
it.
I'm certainly not going to stop the search for contact.
Yeah. Exactly.
Keep pushing forward in a physical and an energy sense.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. So getting back to the C5 stuff, and that's what you're saying. Your daughter had them dreams and stuff like that. Is there
Yeah.
anything else significant you might have seen, or
Oh,
with
mate,
doing that with people, or like is there anything you think would be good for people to hear about? You know what I mean?
I think it's a case of like just giving it a go.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in a group. You can do it by yourself.
Yep.
Obviously, if you've got some like-minded friends, have a crack at it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not losing anything.
Yep.
It's nothing like doing a Ouija board or something like that.
Yeah.
It's complete polar opposite to each other.
Yeah.
You aren't summoning demons, so nothing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of incredible experiences I've had since the C5. Like I used to be part of the Gold Coast CE5 group and seen a lot of incredible stuff.
Yep.
With those group meetups. Even the case of like one night, had my night vision camera up there, so not a thermal camera as we were talking earlier,
Yep.
just a normal night vision camera, and
Yep.
we had 3 lights coming across the sky. I pulled the night vision camera up on the 3rd light, and
Yep.
as soon as I made a verbal note that I'm watching the 3rd one, it stopped and started going back the other direction.
Yeah. That's wild.
Things like that, and even other experiences, just sitting and being peaceful and being happy and one with yourself, and things are zipping and zagging, and we even had one this light one night, we call it the Nike tick.
Yeah.
Myself and Shannon sitting across the road in the park and having a good chat, and things were going off. Like, it was crazy. There's big red lights flashing. There's other stuff going on over here. There's a light on top of Springbrook because from the park across the road, it looks over Hinge Dam in the mountains and looks at Springbrook. And there's a strange light up there. And again, this is all either before or after C5, or it's been done 2 or 3 nights before.
Yeah.
Actually, that is one thing I'll note with the C5. Sometimes it doesn't always happen the night of. It might be a couple of nights later that you look in the sky and something will happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're sitting across the road there, and there's lights on top. There's a strange light on top of Springbrook that we can see. So Shannon flashes a torch, and then it sort of goes off and flashes back. And we're thinking, is it just someone up at Springbrook doing the same thing as us? We're flashing a torch at them, they're flashing a torch at us.
Yep.
That's what we're thinking at first. But then we started going, okay, give us 2 flashes, bang bang.
Yep.
We ended up getting, I think the best one was, okay, give us 6 flashes, 6 flashes. And like, nah, unless they're using telepathy and they can read our minds.
Yeah.
They have no idea. I said, can you give us 3 flashes? Can you give us 6 flashes?
Yeah.
And we're getting 3, we're getting 6.
Yeah, that's wild.
And Springbrook is known for a lot of UFO stuff.
Yeah.
But even like this particular night, what we call the Nike tick. So people think of it, the Nike tick.
Yep.
That's exactly like that. We look up a couple of flashes, and looking in a slight vertical but slightly northerly direction.
Yep.
We see this light brighten a little bit, and then bang, takes off like a Nike tick.
Yeah, right. So, that made me mad.
You know, like in movies and stuff like that, how like when a craft takes off and leaves that trail on the stars.
Even like a sparkler, like
exactly.
That's awesome.
It was a Nike bang, this gold Nike tick, and it happened so fast. And then, again, it's. I mean, the other thing that people have to note as well is that it is known that there are negative ET races out there.
Yeah.
So you just got to make sure when you're doing the CE5 that you are inviting loving and positive beings only.
Yeah.
Because I have heard some stories of people who have done CE5 and welcomed any and all beings, and next thing you know, they're being harassed by ETs in the house that aren't very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of people use Ouija boards and all that. Depends on what you're asking for. I've heard some horror stories of Ouija boards, and even people like mates I went to school with, and that some of them stories I'll tell you one day. And just nightmare sort of stuff, horror movies, like all because they think they'll be funny and ask for something a bit more wild. You know what I mean? Like people don't realise that it's real. It's not muck around. It's not just a little board game you're pulling out from the cupboard. It's not. You're not just sitting there thinking of stuff you want to see. Like it's not just I wish I could get a Ferrari. That's not what you're doing. Like it's
exactly right.
What you asked for will come looking for you. If you don't see it, it will keep showing itself until you do see it. Like it's pretty wild.
This is one thing where people are like, you're tinfoil hat wearers and you're conspiracy theorists and blah blah blah. But they also forget that the governments have been experimenting with this kind of stuff for a long time. You know, BDTs or whatever the hell's going on. Even
remote viewing. Yeah, I was about to say the remote viewers. They've got people they hire to do that. Like
it's energy work.
Yeah.
But no, it's all tinfoil hat wearing stuff apparently.
Yeah, it's just, you look at there's documents online of the courses they did with people doing the remote viewing to find even their own people. They'd send them to different countries and they'd tap in and be able to tell the CIA, whoever they want to say, whoever's doing it, exactly where their person is and what they're wearing and what kind of shoes they got on and everything from sitting in the office in somewhere in America. Like, if they're doing that sort of stuff, the governments would be making crafts as well and that too. Like, they're getting all this stuff from somewhere. 100%. It's not just they didn't grow up watching Star Wars and think, oh, I'm going to do this one day. Like
exactly. Well, man, that comes back to the TR3B, the triangle.
That's pretty much what you said. You seen fly over you. That triangle shape.
Almost. Yeah. It was a V, like.
Yeah, right. Oh, sweet. So it wasn't the triangle. Oh, yeah.
No. So think of about the size of 2 F trucks in a V like that going.
So pretty much like them bombers they have.
Kind of, but like no noise. Just, I guess like a mechanical buzz.
Yeah.
That was, and it was incredible. But you even go back through, the Germans, the US, they've been playing with incredible technologies for 50, 60, 70 years. I mean,
they reckon the public's 30 years behind what they've got. Look at the thermals in the
phones,
last couple of years. The phones are thermals. Look how much this one I've got up here, like little $700 one, and look at the stuff that I've caught on it. You bought a $700 one 5 years ago. People would laugh at you. This thing picks up that much. I can't get the distance like you guys do and the picture quality, but if it's close enough that it's near me that I know that it's there, I'll catch it. You know what I mean? And for $700, like look at the phones. I broke my phone the other day, and I wasn't going to go out and get in a plan, and then I thought I'll just buy a little crappy one, save up a bit with moving out and everything. Like I've had to do all that. I thought stuff it. I'll wait and get a good one later on. This thing, $250 is better than the phone I broke. That was $1,000 Samsung. You know what I mean? This is a dodgy little Samsung from JB Hi-Fi for $250, and it boots compared to the phone that was 5 years old. Like, ridiculous. The computers, this computer I built, it's 38 million times stronger than the computer they use to to go to the moon with, to control everything for that. It was $1,000. I built it myself. You know what I mean? It's 38 million times stronger than that what they used back then to either, I can't remember if it was to get the radio frequency or whatever to talk to them up there, or it's what they use to control the parts of the rocket and that to go off. Like, that's crazy. And it's sitting on my desk here. You know what I mean? Like, drones, look at that side. Drones, the cameras, they're not just thinking of this stuff. We're smart, but we're not that smart. They're getting help from somewhere.
Oh, man, like it's, if we've got this tech, I mean, just the computers that they'd have, these high-end military folks. I mean, you hear stories about what they've actually got. And it sounds like a brand new 2024 sci-fi movie. And apparently that's what they've got. It's all, which again comes back, the soft disclosure and those kind of topics,
It's only a matter of time they start talking about these creatures and what they do. Like, who would in their wildest dreams thought that Congress would be talking about UFOs or UAPs or whatever they want to call it now? And what's the chances of all the stuff that we're into with all this happening now, that me, you, everyone else, Cade, Attila, everyone that are at this point in history, we're all here at the same time for it. And that's what gets me with all this stuff with the energies and that. Like, we've had so many talks about it. How is it that the world's been around for thousands and millions of years? Us guys that are into this, aware of it all, how is it that we've ended up here at that exact point in time that it's all going down? Other than we're meant to be here for it, we've chose to be here for it, or someone's chose for us to be here for it, whether we can help people understand it or whatever. It's hard for me to understand why, but what's the chances, man? Like, even like for my dad to get to the age of what I am now, the stuff that happened back then was nothing. But then how is it in 33 years, the amount of stuff that I've been alive for, that all this stuff's coming out now? Rare enough technology gets better and all that, but they still had stuff happen back then. But this sort of significant stuff, we're all here, we're all running into yowies, we're all seeing the lights, we're all seeing all this other stuff and all the other wild stuff in the world too, that me and you are aware of, that other than us being here at this point in time for a reason, it's the only explanation I've got. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm 100% with you, mate. I actually speak on that exact topic a fair bit and think about that exact topic a fair bit. Is that we all have a path, and we all have stepping stones that we're meant to take, and sometimes those stepping stones might be very negative in nature, but there's stepping stones that need to be stepped on in order to get to this particular point. And it's only when you look back and reflect on those past stepping stones that you realise, well, hey, I wouldn't be in this incredible position if I didn't. I mean, like, it's, I was actually only talking to a mate about this yesterday, that the path. I used to race BMX when I was younger. And I will say I was damn good at it. And I smashing it fast as anything. And guys that I used to race against, and I used to smash them. They
Yeah.
went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
They went to the Olympics. I didn't, because I decided to chase girls and parties.
Yeah.
I still ride, but my decision at the time was to chase girls and parties.
Yeah.
They stuck with it. They went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
However, those stepping stones have led me on this particular path,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be where I am now.
Exactly.
Surrounded by incredible people like yourself and Sarah and Kate and Nutella and whatnot. And even though myself and Dean are part of ways with Australian Research, I wouldn't have had those opportunities to be in those two documentaries, to speak to people around the world, to become friends with James Bobo Faith and finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's wild, eh?
Yeah, I wouldn't be in that position. And to be in contact with people like yourself, with energy workers, with other contactees, other people in this incredible world, which I call the real world, not this fake program world that we've been coerced into since we were young. And it's just more fascinating and more wondrous each and every day, again, it's those stepping stones that leads in this direction. And I'm sure that there's got to be a higher purpose why we've all come together, why we found each other, why we're in contact with each other. I personally feel that there's something big coming. Like, I can feel it inside me. There's something big coming.
I feel it every day, dude.
I don't know what it is, but there's it's I think this year something big is going to happen this year.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad either.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's going to be a big, incredible, wonderful thing.
Yeah. I get up, I feel like there's better on the horizon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Wild, like everything. So I'm the same, man. Everything that's ever happened to me, the good, the bad, the ugly, the brilliant, everything. Everyone always goes, "Oh, I wish I could change that," or "I wish I didn't do this," or "I wish I didn't." I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I know I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me too. But if one of those things didn't happen, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
100%,
you know what I mean?
100%.
And it's nothing to do with, I just made the right decisions, or I did this, or I did that. It's, I think when we come here, we've got no choice of the matter. And whether we tried our best not to do that or not have that happen to us or anything like that, it was still going to happen, even if it took an extra 3 weeks or a month or 10 years. Like, everything that happens to us is happening for a reason. And that's why I think there's no chance that we just coincidentally all ended up here with the same mindset and the same ideas and the same things happening to us. That couldn't have all just happened as a coincidence for us to be here right now.
Firstly, there's no such thing as coincidences.
No, and that's what I mean. So it's awesome, and it's great that we can sit down and talk about it. And I know, like we were saying before, a lot of people don't believe in this sort of stuff, and it's hard for them and that. But
that's okay, though. I mean,
until it starts happening to them, until it starts happening, man, I used to think this sort of stuff was fucking weird. I still feel weird talking about it, even like none of the guys at work even really know about my podcast or what I do or that, because I know it's just going to put not doubts in me, but people will think different about me, and it will affect the way I do it. I'm be more worried about it. At least if I just leave it like this, and if they stumble on it, that's fair enough. And you know what? I've had that many people come up to me without me talking about stuff and talk about the weirdest shit to me in the world at work. And then they walk off and they'll be like, I don't know why I said that to you. I don't talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's so I just leave it. I don't force it on anyone. I don't want people thinking this or that or out there. I just do my thing. And if people want to talk to me, somehow they find it. I don't know whether it's I put that off or whatever, but I've been sitting at the pub talking to people and they start talking about panthers out of nowhere, or they talk about something that went bang in their house, or like, it's like, how did you even think of talking that to me? You've never met me before. I'm just not some pisshead down the pub. I'm just sitting here like having a drink. Like, where'd that come from? And I seen a thing the other day. I'll send it to you later about high vibration. I know I go places, and as soon as I go there, their pets come straight up to me and don't leave me alone. Dogs, and Like I said, with my stuff with horses, I always seem to be able to do stuff with horses, and I don't know what I'm doing. Like they listen to me and stuff like that. Obviously, like to do with that, and have people come talk to me about the weirdest shit or traumatic stuff that you wouldn't talk about with anyone that you didn't know. It's just comes out of them, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't do that." And I think that's why we're having all this stuff happen to us. We're meant to be here for that reason, to help people and to help stuff that's out there, that whether it wants to come forward or it just wants to be known or just wants friends. Like it's we're here for a reason. It's not just a coincidence. And I think we're gonna play a part in something. It's good. It's fucking terrifying, but because you don't know what's going on.
I can't get enough of it, bro. Like, I wish the world of Harry Potter would just hurry up and be here right now.
We watch it all the time with the kids.
It'd be incredible, you know.
Yeah,
100%. It's I generally say a fair bit as well, is that every single person has had something they can't explain happen to them.
100%.
Be it a noise or a thought or finding something or whatever. 100%. Every single person, be it if they're on our path or they're on the definition of ignorant path. Yeah. Every single person has had something that they can't explain, and it's trying to get them to open their mind up that maybe it's not just some random thing. Maybe it actually was something that was done on purpose. Yeah. That bump in the window or something like that. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing publicly that I have not said in a public forum before. Yeah. So too with crystals. So when I meditate, I use crystals a lot. Yeah. Specific crystals. I went to a specific shop to go buy my wife a birthday present, and there's a lady in there who's very connected. Yeah. And I walk into the shop, and she sees me, and she's with a customer, and I bend down and look at some necklaces, and she says, she picks up a piece of amethyst, and it says, just hold on to this for me. Yeah, brother, whatever. I mean, at this stage, to me, crystals were just pretty rocks. Yeah. That's all I thought they were, just pretty rocks. And she gives me this piece of amethyst, and she's done with her customer. She comes over to have a chat. She goes, "What do you feel?" I said, "Nothing." "Huh, okay. What do you got in your pocket?" And I reached in my pocket and I pulled out the clear quartz that the Yowies from Shannon's old place had taken for a few weeks and then returned. Yeah. And had a piece of rainbow obsidian in there as well. Yeah. But again, like the rainbow obsidian was just a pretty rock. The crystal, I thought I gifted that because it's of the earth. Yeah. I feel that they prefer to have gifts of the earth instead of man-made plastic or something like that. Yeah. So I had this clear quartz and the rainbow obsidian in my pocket. So I've taken them out, showed her. She's then taken the quartz and the obsidian off me. So now she's holding them. And then being like a wheat pack that you put in the microwave, a heat pack, that amethyst heated up in my hand to the point where I went, "What the F?" Yeah. What? And not. Now, people might say like, "Oh yeah, it's because you've been holding it in your hand." Yeah, I understand that, but no. This was like I felt it heat up in my hand, and I've looked at that and what the F, and then looked at her. She goes, "Yep, these two were protecting you from that one because it's a new crystal." Okay, if you say so. And then she took the amethyst and then put them together, said some words, and came back and and that's when I was like, okay, there's something to crystals. They're not just pretty rocks.
You can't prove that, like, it's not just paranormal or it's not just physical. Like, there's no, you can't prove it. So you can't, people can't judge in that when there's no definitive proof that it's not real. Like, exactly right. That's what gets me so hard. It's like, dude, no one's physically, they probably have, but no one's physically got a body of a Yowie. or a Bigfoot or a Dogman or anything like that. They would somewhere, but to say, hey, this is it and that's all it is. Because even if you get that, it still doesn't, you're still not explaining why some old mate down the road seen one walk across the road and it was halfway across the road, it just disappears. Like you said, you can't find that, you can't prove that unless you get it on footage. And even now, with the way AI and everything is and CGI and that, it's terrible.
Big problem.
And you know what? That's why I reckon why it's been released so early and why people are being able to use that is to cover up the real stuff that's out there.
I think you're exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, like it's even been up to the point where, like a guy I posted on Facebook yesterday is a picture of a baby beside a bulldog puppy, and they're laying in the mud, looking all cute and stuff. But straight away, it's AI.
Yeah.
But him, including everyone in the comments, is like, "Oh, such a beautiful picture."
Yeah.
And like, I struggle to fathom how people can't see that that's not actually a real photo.
Did you see that? I think you sent it to me. It had my story of the Dogman, but it was AI footage of some looked like a hyena or something walking, but had like a wolf's head on it. And they were talking about, this is my footage I got of that creature walking.
Yeah, I remember some. Yeah,
and I posted on it. And I'm like, that's my story, but that ain't what I got.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
that's CGI or AI like generated shit. That's not mine. And people were like, oh, really? And then I sent a few and went over and, I've read that story. Yeah, I've seen. I just watched it on YouTube. That's not what this is. That's fake. Like don't use my. Different people using my photo all the time and saying it was in Texas or Tennessee and all that.
Oh, mate.
Good that a lot of people have seen it because now they're telling people, hey, that's John's from Sydney. That's not.
It is incredible.
Like, it's wild.
It is incredible the amount of people that want to gain some kind of recognition by stealing photos, and if it's yours or someone else's, or
everything. Like
even audio.
Get out there.
I mean, I remember like even when it was with AYR again, we used to have people contact us all the time through Facebook Messenger, sending us photos and audio recordings. I remember this guy in South Australia decided to send us some audio so that he captured it on his grandparents' farm. Yeah, I listened to it and went, no, hang on. I jumped on YouTube. This clown decided to take audio, the first 17 seconds of video 2 of the Sierra sounds, and try and send it through as his own. And I was like, nah, mate, no. And then he also then sent through a photo, which I think is from Georgia or Tennessee or something like that. It's called Chuck Up Bigfoot. So, in the movie Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell, there's that Chuck Up. Yeah. So there's this picture of this Bigfoot, alleged Bigfoot, coming down a hillside. It's nicknamed Chuck Up Bigfoot because it looks just like the one from Land of the Lost. Yeah. Anyway, this guy sends this through as well. I'm like, nah, mate, that's Chuck Up Bigfoot. Yeah. And he's like, no, it is. And he's then losing it because I'm saying, no, mate, like the audio is the Sierra sounds. Yeah. And I've even sent him my Google search, which brought up all the Chuck Bigfoots with the Google search. Yeah. Screenshot it, sent it to him. He goes, no. And of course, I'm the asshole because I don't believe him. And and he went back to the same old bullshit. This is why people don't take us seriously. But what are you doing? I'm not taking you seriously because you're ripping off. Ron Moorhead's The Sierra sounds for one.
I've heard him do with Yowie Dan's audio and that before, and everyone's stuff. It's just like, man, I know a lot of them are doing it on like they're trying to help. They're like, oh, this is what I think this is good. It's going to help and that, but it's like it's not helping. No, and nothing's going to help. It's not. No one believes in this shit until it happens to them. No matter what you show them or tell them or anything. I've still got family members that laugh at me every time they see my photo. It's like, you can fucking see a dog's head. Yeah, dog's head. That could be anywhere. I'm like, it's 10 foot off the ground. We've been there and shown the documentary.
I've had that.
Track. I've had the law when we went there and that. I'm like, if you don't want to believe me, that's fair enough. But then at the same time, had them turn around and be like, but you know what? When I was a kid, I seen a UFO fly over me. You can't say to me that's not true or that's not real. But then you're telling me, hey, you're seeing a UFO or the ghost that used to haunt your house or like, that's the thing though, man. Without people seeing it and experiencing it themselves, no matter what we find, they're not going to be
not good enough.
taking a bar of it.
But
Which is it's shit, but at the same time, it's how people digest stuff and deal with it too. Because fucking, it's terrifying knowing that these things are out there, whether they're nice or not. There's still always good and bad in everyone and everything.
For sure.
And it's terrifying. Still shit every time I go anywhere with the kids out in the bush because you don't know what it's like or what's around or that. Like, it's understandable why people go, fuck that, I don't want to hear about it, or nut, you're a liar. Because if we're lying, they think we're lying and that, it's easier for them to deal with. But
well, I mean, that's exactly right. You know, it doesn't shake their paradigm too much, so they can continue on being ignorant and carrying on like a clown and doing what they do every day, and sitting in the same position they have been for the last 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? I mean, stuff? You got your website, your Facebook page that everyone can go and check out, or?
No, nothing like that, mate. I think with the YouTube channel, I'll do the YouTube channel, but I doubt I'll do a Facebook page for it. Yes, I mean, like I've got the Paranormal Connections page, which is more so to do with our to be linked with our paranormal nights. But it kind of got ruined for paranormal nights, basically because I put up a video of the pig that got ripped in half. Which was sent into AYR years ago. I don't own rights to it. AYR doesn't own rights to it. The same person sent it to other avenues as well. So I threw it up and it went viral. It reached 1.7 million people, and the page went from a couple of hundred likes within a week. It went to over 10,000 likes.
Wow.
And it's that's too many people for Paranormal Night, you know.
Yeah, that's it. They're a big hall, right?
Like a town convention. So I guess like that page is, I'm sort of disassociating from the Paranormal Nights because it's just too much. Like even if we have a small percentage of followers turn up to Paranormal Night, we still don't have the available space to cater for that amount of people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, where we've been having the Paranormal Nights, you know, we're having sort of 40 to 60 people. And that's with food and drink as well. Whereas if we have a fraction of those people who have liked the page, who are mostly, from what I see, a lot of it's Australian people. You know, we'll have 1,000 people turning up, and
that's pretty wild.
The venue just can't cater for that. So, but again, like that's meant to be for the Paranormal Nights, but that's going to do its own thing. My Facebook page, I've already got it started, but I haven't uploaded nothing to it. It's called the Finderer, the Finderer Search for Contact.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That'll be the name of it. Or is the name of it. I just haven't uploaded. I've got some footage ready to go. I just haven't uploaded anything to it. Again, it was just that whole process of working out which way to go. But it is this stage. It is going to be research videos, like being out there with me in the forests. But I'm also going to be doing on-site interviews. So people have had encounters and sightings. I'm going to try and line up with them going to the location. And we do the interview at the location. So it doesn't have to be, they don't have to be on camera. We can stand behind the camera, have the camera point at the location. We'll just talk about it. I've got a mate up the road whose son and his friends saw a big fella walking off the back of their place not long ago. They're keen to interview. However, kids won't be going on camera. And, only adults if they wish to be on camera, but kids won't be going on camera. Kids will stay behind the camera.
No, that's good. It's good to get out and you're helping people doing that, man. It's not like you're just doing it for your YouTube and trying to make money or be famous or anything like that. At the end of the day, you're trying to help people because they're in the same position that you've been at one stage of your life, and you're like, holy crap, what had just happened to me? How do I explain it? And who do I have to talk to about it? And you go and do that, that's an awesome idea, going out and doing the on-site interviews, and you walk through and follow their story, like follow their encounter. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it'll be intriguing for sure. Definitely. Like it won't just involve the big fellas. It'll be all facets. I mean, if there's ghosts or ETs, UFOs, whatever.
That's awesome, dude.
Just try and give the viewers a different perspective.
That's
to So yeah.
Yeah, sweet, dude.
We'll see.
We might wrap it up, and it's been awesome to have you come on, dude. And you're doing such a good job, and you've done such a good job for a long time. And I can't wait for you to be able to do YouTube and that, because I know you're gonna have that many people wanting more out of you. And
appreciate it.
Just awesome to have people like you out there, like you and Sarah and Attila and Yowie Dan, that have been through this sort of stuff and willing to talk about it too. And we need more people to do that. It's not just so people believe us more. It's we know it helps people. We know it's helping these people that are sitting around, had stuff happen to them that they can't explain it, and they don't have anyone around them that can explain it either. And we can't really explain it, but we're here to say, hey, don't know what happened, but this is what happened, and it's real, and you're not crazy. So you're doing such a good job, and I know you've been such a good help with me through everything the last couple of years. I can talk to you about everything, so I appreciate that so much. You don't know how much it means to me, the Yowie stuff and everything else that's going on. I've been good to be able to chat and bounce stuff off each other, and that it's been really good, and love to have you on. And in the future, I want to try and do one. We get Sarah on at the same time and a couple other boys and have a big chat about everything. So
round table,
it's been awesome. Good. Yeah. Awesome, dude.
Cool. Thanks for having me on, brother.
No
it's
worries.
Been great. It's been fun. Keen to do it again.